everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Retro Gamers Podcast, episode number 352. Larry here. Got a solo episode going on. Anthony is on assignment. He's actually somewhere in the world for work, and he's unavailable right now. So, and I had a very busy weekend. I did try and scramble to get some people to help out. Just unfortunately, it was very last minute. No one's fault at all. I just couldn't get anybody. So I decided to do this one on my own. And as always, my comfort zone is going to be the audio only. So again, this is an audio only episode. So for those who normally watch on YouTube, just set this one in the background and enjoy either your drive or decorating for Christmas or whatever you might be doing. I'm gonna kind of get into some things here, which I will not waste anyone's time and get into right now. First and foremost, I do want to discuss the Game Awards that went on this past week. I think it was last Thursday, December 7th. We said it probably last year. Me and Anthony said this about the Game Awards. We might have finally aged ourselves out of new games. To be honest with you, I looked at some of the trailers that dropped, for new games and everything, and I'm not even going to get into the issue that everyone's having, that apparently for like a 2-hour, 3-hour show or something like that, I think they said literally like 20 minutes was actual announcing nominees and game winners, I should say, where everything else was just world premieres or whatever they were calling it. So it really is no longer the Game Awards. It's just, let's show the games. And I know Jeff Keighley, who runs and creates and produced and whatever does with the Game Awards, the next day I saw him on X saying something. I didn't understand what it was at first, but he went on and said something along the lines of our timing, the length that we allowed people, we'll fix that in the future. Apparently they were just letting some of these people just talk for a minute with these winners, and then the music immediately starts playing and off they go. So apparently some issues with the Game Awards. But we'll see what happens. I honestly did not watch the Game Awards, but I did recognize some of the winners and some of the losers, and I don't mean that in a bad way. Apparently, Spider-Man 2 for PS5 had 7 nominations and won nothing. I mean, goose egg. And look, I'm not a fan of the series. I really didn't play the first Spider-Man game. I'm not saying they're bad. They are gorgeous. Spider-Man 2 looks amazing on the PS5. But I haven't gotten into the games. And I have the first Spider-Man on PS4. Then I upgraded it for some reason for an extra $10. I did upgrade it to the PS5. Figure I'd take advantage of it. And for the very short amount of time that I played it, it's, again, beautiful looking if you have the right television. But yeah, no wins for Spider-Man 2. We're going to get right into it. Game of the Year went to Baldur's Gate 3. And Baldur's Gate 3, I remember, again, a game I'm not playing, but I've seen a lot of people do play. And I do enjoy the Baldur's Gate series. Almost on par for me with Diablo. And really the only Baldur's Gate I've played were Dark Alliance 1 and 2. But Baldur's Gate 3, again, people have been playing it, saying it's been outstanding. Just to mention the other nominees, though, in that Game of the Year category, they're all heavy hitters. Alan Wake 2, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, The Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom, Resident Evil 4, which I think is hysterical to say, Resident Evil 4, when they're up to, 7 or 8 is about to come out, or did come out. And, of course, as we mentioned before, Spider-Man 2. I honestly thought this was probably going to go to Zelda. All joking aside, as much as I think Zelda, the last 2 games, Tears and, I haven't played Tears, but from the looks of it, and Breath of the Wild, I have not been crazy about. But that's me personally. Taking nothing away from the games themselves, I kind of thought Tears was going to take it. But, and of course, my sentimental pick would have been Super Mario Bros. Wonder. I just beat that game. I just got through the regular, story mode. I have to go back now and start, tightening up on things, collect everything. But I got through the main base of that game. And Wonder was a great game. If you haven't picked it up yet for the Switch, absolutely do. I really enjoyed Wonder. But Baldur's Gate 3 picking up Game of the Year. Just cycling through some of the games. I'm not going to mention all of them. But some of the probably shockers, not shockers. Let me see. Let me go through this. Baldur's Gate 3 won a lot. Won community support, whatever that means. Most anticipated game. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which I think is pretty cool. That is pretty sweet. We did get a couple Nintendo. Yes, I know. I am a Nintendo snob, so I will mention it. Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom did win Best Action Adventure Game, so very happy to see that. And I know Baldur's Gate 3 won Best Role-Playing Game, Best Multiplayer Game. I know. There it is. Best Family Game. And truly, you know what? This is the category that it should be winning. Super Mario Brothers Wonder winning Best Family Game. And it truly is. Beat out Party Animals, Sonic Superstars, Disney Illusion Island, and Pikmin 4. The category, where is it? Let me go back to it real quick. Best Adaptation. So Best Adaptation is basically, bringing the game to either the silver screen, as they call it, or the television screen. And the nominees were Castlevania Nocturne on Netflix, Gran Turismo, which was a movie, Twisted Metal, which was on Peacock, The Last of Us on HBO, and the Super Mario Brothers movie, which was in theaters. So 2 movies, 3 television shows. And this, I'm not saying this with any not, what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of it. Anyway, for my love of it. But I honestly thought Super Mario Brothers movie was going to take this. I mean, that movie was amazing. Don't get me wrong. I've seen 3 of the 5 of these. I saw the first couple of, I think I only saw the first episode of The Last of Us on HBO. I wasn't crazy about it. Twisted Metal was phenomenal. Great show. Gran Turismo, I have not watched yet. I do want to watch it. Castlevania Nocturne, I don't have Netflix. I wasn't crazy how the original Castlevania anime ended. I just think it got a little wacky. But hopefully Nocturne changes that. But again, like I said, Super Mario Brothers movie, I saw 3 times in 2 weeks in the theater, and I immediately pre-ordered it, which I usually don't do, because nowadays with movies at home, you can now purchase movies that are still playing in theaters. But sometimes they'll come out for $20, they'll drop down to $10. But when you're buying it like that, it's $25. And I'm not saying this to be skinflint. I got the money, don't get me wrong. But I loved that movie so much, I immediately purchased it, pre-ordered it as soon as I can. And I'm going to do the same thing with Godzilla -1, to be honest with you. As soon as it becomes available, I don't care how much it is. I might even pay $30 for the Super Mario Brothers movie. I can't remember. But in any event, The Last of Us won Best Adaptation. And I don't know. Again, I know it's me. This is just my opinion. But I just wasn't crazy about The Last of Us. That's just, I don't know. Just, it didn't strike me. But again, the Super Mario Brothers movie hit so close to home and just hit that nostalgia nerve. I kind of thought that did that for everybody. So I honestly thought it was going to take it, but that's okay. That's okay. Nevertheless, The Last of Us took that one. But yeah, I don't have the exact numbers, but Baldur's Gate definitely taking majority of the games, of the awards. Street Fighter 6 edging out Mortal Kombat 1 for fighting game of the year. And what else? I'm just looking through. Esports, I don't care about. E-players, I could care less. E-coaches, ridiculous. And then Pikmin 4, another one from Nintendo, one strategy game of the year. So the Game Awards 2023, again, I don't think Anthony watched it either, because we really didn't, no one, little chat mentioned anything. So I don't even think I doubt he watched it. Plus, he's been busy. He's working. But nevertheless, the Game Awards. And then with some of the trailers that and I can't even, honestly, the two I do want to mention, one is Jurassic Park Survival. a brand new Jurassic Park game that's coming out. That actually looks really good. At least the trailer made it look good. Basically, I think it takes place on the original island from the first movie, the very first movie. I don't know if it takes place during that time frame or like if it's something later on. But nevertheless, it's just a first-person survival game taking place in the world of Jurassic Park. You really can't go wrong with that. The other announcement, this one, I don't think anyone really saw coming. Sega has announced that they are reviving a lot of their IPs. So they had this wonderful trailer Sega did called Power the Next Level. And it shows clips of brand new games in the world set for Jet Set Radio, Crazy Taxi, Golden Axe, Shinobi, and Streets of Rage. Now, we've gotten Streets of Rage 4 recently, but this is, again, I don't know if it's going to be a reboot or just, again, a new game in the series. But these are 5 games. We'll say 4, because, again, we got Streets of Rage 4 a couple years ago, that have just been laying dormant. And why they were left to sit is unimaginable, quite frankly, because they all are amazing. Jet Set Radio. I never actually really played Jet Set Radio. I played Crazy Taxi ad nauseum with my Dreamcast, and definitely one of those ones that I've repurchased a few times. I think currently have it on my Xbox 360. It is great to see a brand new Golden Axe. It looks like it's going to be kind of like in like a third person over the shoulder, which I think would be awesome, like beat 'em up. So that'd be really cool if they did it that way. Shinobi, I maybe I missed it in the trailer. I'll have to go back and watch it. But a lot of people were talking about Shinobi, and Shinobi had some amazing games. Amazing games. And of course, like I said, Streets of Rage. We've gotten Streets of Rage 4, so at least we're not yearning for a brand new Streets of Rage because we kind of had that filled for a little while. But it's good. And Sega has said these are not the only 5 games. They're going to be working on other IPs. And it's cool to see. Now, look, again, I would prefer, in a weird way, I would prefer to see. I know it's not going to happen. Don't get me wrong. I'm a realist. It's 2020. We're going into 2024. They cannot stick with 8-bit and 16-bit remakes, or you know what I mean. I mean, every once in a blue moon, that's something cool. I get these are going to be next gen games. I mean, I'm just trying to think if they could, not even maybe a new, but like Golden Axe. Everyone always talks about like Golden Axe Warrior. Golden Axe Warrior is a game for the Master System that is a basic, blatant ripoff, which is probably why you won't see it, of The Legend of Zelda. It's an unlockable game on the PS3 Sonic Genesis collection, which I unlocked recently and I started playing. And the game's amazing. It is worth a ridiculous amount of money originally on the Master System. So, if you can, get yourself a reproduction version. If not, if you have a PS3, you can unlock the game on the PS3. But I'd like to see maybe like newer versions of those games that are hard to get, hard to find. But that really kind of falls with Golden Axe. All the other games, fairly easy to get, easy to repurchase. Like I said, Crazy Taxi, I think you can even still buy now on the Xbox Series X as a 360 game. But nevertheless, it's very cool to see Sega going back to their roots. And we'll see what happens from it. We'll see what other games eventually will come down the pike. But that was really, that's really all I got from the Game Awards. That's really all I was interested in the Game Awards. So, is what it is. Certainly looking to move forward from there. Other than that, so that's kind of like the information that I want to give, just as far as, what we all experienced. Some things, though, that I'm experiencing. And I always like to kind of, let you in a little bit on what's going on in my life with me. Of course, nothing major, nothing terrible. But first and foremost, as of this recording, I got my email saying that my Analog Duo is ready to ship. I got my tracking number. Hasn't been updated yet, so I don't know when I'm getting it. Hopefully by the end of the week would be very nice. seeing how I paid a lot of money for standard shipping from California to New York. Should not take that long. So we'll see what happens. I got my game, my very, very small collection of TurboGrafx games, both Hue cards and a good handful of CD games, one of which I mentioned a few weeks ago, the Godzilla game that I got for the PC Engine. I cannot wait to play. Apparently that came out in North America. I didn't realize. I have the Godzilla game, the Japanese version, the PC Engine version, and it's a very cool fighter. I just can't wait to pop it in and start playing. I rearranged yet again my entertainment center to properly now fit the Turbo Duo. And when I was measuring out the Duo from the schematics that are on Analog's website, I was actually quite shocked as to, unless I did a terrible job in measuring, I was very shocked to see the dimensions. So we're going to go with millimeters here, folks, so good luck. It's 177 millimeters in length, 267 millimeters in width, and of course 34.7 millimeters in height. I'm not worried about the height. Not even really worried about the width. It was not worried about the length. It's the width that I was worried about. Trying to get it onto my entertainment center, because since it's a CD-based system, I want to try and put it somewhere that rocks the least. I mean, not that I'm saying this thing's going to generate so much spin that it's going to, rock back and forth the table, whatever it's going to sit on, but nevertheless. So I got a nice spot for it. Can't wait for it to come in. The Atari 2600 Plus is running beautifully. It's still loading games that it needs to load. I got that set, though I might continue moving some things around. But I'm looking forward to the Duo. I really can't. It'll be the first time ever in any incarnation or any version of a TurboGrafx system that I've owned a TurboGrafx system. Analog announced, as we announced last week, Analog is going to be shipping their pocket adapters in February, this coming February 2024, in a couple months. So I'll be able to turn my pocket into essentially a Turbo Express. And I've talked about it before, and a topic that I know is still fresh in everyone's mind, and a topic that I'm going to touch on a little bit today, but I would rather have Anthony on to talk about it, because we have gone back and forth ad nauseum. But this is kind of the first time that I think the argument is definitely against me. Before I get into that, I do have on the pocket, even on probably on my Analog NT Mini Noir. I do believe I have the TurboGrafx, the ROMs on those. But like I said, even owning ROMs, even having that, there's still something about having certain games still physical, which I'll always do. I might have the entire NES library, but there's still going to be games I want to buy physically. It's just something about it. I'm not looking for the entire library, but I'm looking for enough. And also, with Analog updating, they just had their firmware update, for the Analog Pocket, which also updated the dock. And it's now very nice that the dock, controller-wise, accepts the USB TurboGrafx 16 Mini controller, or the PC Engine Mini controller, which is very cool. It's an NES style, if you remember, still 2 buttons, very NES-like, but it works beautifully with the dock, and it's very comfortable to use with Game Boy games. But I forgot, if I want to play Game Boy Advance games, I need to find something with shoulder buttons, because there's only 2 buttons on the TurboGrafx controller, but I'll figure that out later. But nevertheless, speaking of ROMs and stuff like that, it just came out, a week or 2 ago. At this point, a huge announcement from PlayStation, not even an announcement, a legal update notice. And I am reading this verbatim from PlayStation.com. Discovery entitlements affected titles. Quote, as of December 31st, 2023, due to our content licensing arrangements with content providers, you will no longer be able to watch any of your previously purchased Discovery content, and the content will be removed from your video library. We sincerely thank you for your continued support. Thank you, PlayStation Store. Long story short, Warner Brothers Discovery is removing the access of a ton of television shows from people who actually paid money to purchase these seasons. Yes, something that was bought digitally is now being removed from the user. And this is the part of the argument. This is the biggest part, probably the only part of the argument of physical versus digital, whether it is movies or video games. The fact that when you buy something physical, you own it. When you buy something digital, yes, you are technically leasing it. And this can happen, and a lot of us always knew it could happen. And it is happening. Now, on my point with this is, and no disrespect to anyone who enjoy these shows or anyone who's created these shows, but it's a handful of reality shows, really. I mean, I'm looking through it. I think they're pretty much all reality shows, but nothing major, like no major television shows, no major movies. Okay, well, Mythbusters is like the biggest show. All right, Naked and Afraid. Okay, there are some big name shows on here, but again, they're all basically reality shows, if you will. Like none of them, like no sitcoms or nothing like that. But these are a lot, but a lot of them are just not. Yeah, I mean, they're those Discovery shows, Outrageous Acts of Science, Redwood Kings, Dr. Jeff, Rocky Mountain Vet, Dual Survivor, Auction Kings, just to name a few. American Chopper. Well, that's a big one. American Chopper is a big one. So again, this is the first time. Now, I don't know if this means that if you've downloaded it, it's removed. I don't know if it's streaming only, because a lot of times you can purchase these shows. You don't download them, but you can stream them. Now, it is possible is also with downloading. Now, I don't have all the deep dive details of this. All I know is that this is the thing. This is the biggest content of the argument. Now, my opinion on this real fast, and again, we'll probably go into more detail with Anthony when he comes back, which I think should be next week. First of all, these are just shows that, to me, maybe some people are still watching them. None of them are true heavy hitters. There's a few, like Mythbusters is probably the biggest one. That one I didn't realize was on this list. But also in today's streaming world, most likely, and I'm not saying everybody, I'm not saying 100%. I would say almost maybe 3/4, maybe. I'll even go half. Let's say half. Half of the people that own a lot of these shows probably have, who they just merged with? Max, right? Max or Paramount? Discovery merged with someone. I forgot who it was. It was one of those two. It was either Max or Discovery. I mean, Max or Paramount Plus. But I think a lot of these shows are now available on streaming platforms, which I'm sure people have. So it might not be like everyone. Now, a lot of people will, but I don't think everyone's going to lose full access. I'm pretty sure all the seasons of Mythbusters are available, whether you have the Discovery app standalone or if it merged. I'm pretty sure it merged with Max. So in other words, I don't think these things are lost forever. Man vs. Wild, I know definitely is on one of the streaming platforms. And I know, I mean, certainly a ton of shows that I've bought, shows, not even movies, shows that I've bought, I can get on streaming. Because I'm subscribed to pretty much almost all of them. And look, I'm not saying it is, it's just, that's what it is. That's what I have. So I don't think this is really as big as a hit, as much as it's almost like going from VHS to DVD. A lot of people, not everyone, but a lot of people upgraded from VHS to DVD. And then maybe even went a step further, went from DVD to Blu-ray. I certainly have. I know there was a lot of stuff. I mean, I didn't own a ton of VHS tapes, but the few that I had, I definitely rebought on DVD. And I definitely rebought a lot going from DVD to Blu-ray. And then, of course, now converting my entire video movie library to digital. And I do not foresee, I'm not saying it will never happen, but I do not foresee this happening with major movies. I've yet to lose, at least not that I can tell, access to any movie that I've purchased. And especially with video games. Video games, they get downloaded to the system. Now, a game like, if you remember Super Mario 35 on the Switch, that came out, but that from the start, though, Nintendo was like, this is out for a limited time. Eventually, that's going to get pulled. And it was, but at least we knew that going in. Can't say anything about it. We knew that going in. But it's a situation where I know what I'm getting myself into. I know when I purchase a movie digitally on Apple, on, Amazon, on Vudu, I know I'm not owning it. Though I'm starting to see a couple of advertisements of digital movies saying, own now and forever. I think that I think it was Universal I might have saw with that. And I didn't look into it, so I don't know the legal details behind it. But I did see him say, buy on digital, own forever. So I'm not sure what that's all about. But nevertheless, I'm confident with the world going digital, that I'm not going to lose any access to my stuff. But again, even if I did, I mean, 3/4 of the stuff that I have is already on streaming. So it's not like it's not like I'm going to lose, I think, full access to anything. And to be honest, if I did lose access to something, it'd probably be something that I wasn't even watching. I am pretty sure I got a few movies in my collection, a few television episodes in my collection online that I've never even watched. So if I'm not watching it now, well, am I going to miss it? But again, that's a conversation to have, especially with Anthony, because he is definitely on the opposite side than I am as far as physical. And I know he's going to shove my nose in the dirt about this, and he'll give me the "I told you so." But at least we can go back and forth on that. So, but that was interesting to see that come about. And then the other thing that happened to me was this one was kind of shocking because it's one of those situations. It's like it's never going to happen to me, and it happened to me recently. For fun, I thought it was broken. I was actually going to get ready to ship it out to have it fixed. But for fun and giggles, I booted up my original Xbox, my OG Xbox. And I am pretty sure it is my original Xbox that I bought way, way, way long ago in 2001 or maybe 2002. I didn't buy it day one. And when I booted it up like a few months ago, I got like an error message saying that it couldn't access the hard drive or something. So I'm like, oh, there that goes. But I don't know, I just tried it again. I don't know why I did, but I did. But it booted up and it worked. So I was like, sweet, this is cool. I got my Xbox running again. So I figured I'd take out a couple games. It happened to be a couple of just compilation games, Taito Legends and Capcom Classic Collection. So I booted it. I put in Capcom Classics. And, here it's spin. But then it said it couldn't read the disc. So I'm like, oh, all right, maybe my Xbox is not as working as I thought it was going to. So when I took the disc out and I flipped it over to clean it, that's when I saw what I believe is the first case in my collection of any sort of DVDs whatsoever, CDs, DVDs, Blu-ray discs, whatever you want to call them, in any version of possible disc rot. There's a section, a small one, but albeit a section along the edge of the disc that dips down a little bit, and it is definitely a like a discoloration, I'm not going to say a warping. The only way I can describe it is like a discoloration of the CD. And I thought maybe, something was, I thought even literally maybe something I can wipe off, like a really deep thumbprint or something. But no, it was just a rotting, if you will, for lack of a better term, of the disc. So and it was such a small area that it shut down the whole game. And for those who are unaware of disc rot or maybe never heard of it, from Wikipedia, I'm reading it verbatim, quote, "Disc rot is the tendency of CD, DVD, or other optical discs to become unreadable because of chemical deterioration. The cause includes oxidation of the reflective layer, reactions with contaminants, ultraviolet light damage, and debonding of the adhesive used to adhere the layers of the disc together." So without getting into it, CDs, especially DVDs, and even Blu-rays, I think, can have multi-layers. You hear about a multi-layer DVD or multi-layer Blu-ray. In fact, if you ever watched, even for those, those who have physical media, if you've watched movies on DVD, and sometimes you'll get like a half-second stutter. Maybe even less than half a second stutter. But, the movie's going great. Everything's going perfect. Nothing's wrong with it. But for just a very split second, you kind of get like a stutter. Not even a pause, just, again, a stutter. And that is the system reading from one layer jumping to the next. And then it goes on and you're good to go. It doesn't really stop the momentum of the movie, but if you watch long enough, you can tell. And, but yeah, this thing started, it was a deterioration of some sort. And like I said, the rest of the disc looks fine. And I'm not sure if over time it's going to expand. But I now don't know if any of my other... I'm not saying it's like contagious or something. But I don't know if any of my discs have that. Now, where they are right now, I can't really get to them because I got my Christmas decorations up. But certainly after Christmas, I might start going through them. What's funny is I don't know if I'm going to be able to recognize the disc rot on a PlayStation 1 game, since they have the black bottoms. So I don't know if I'll be able to actually see it. But nevertheless, it was very, very sad. Now, it's a game that almost equated to the situation with PlayStation and the streaming shows. This is a game that I haven't played in forever. And I kind of picked it up because it was just there. I was able to get to it. And it's also a game that I'm pretty sure 90%, if not a little bit more, of the games that are on that disc, I have somewhere else to play. So I'm not really missing out on anything. I don't think I'm missing out on anything particular. So I'm not overly upset at it, but it is, again, the first time I've come across that. So now I'm very interested to see if I have anything else that might be, hopefully not, rotting away. Because something else Anthony can blame about me taking the games out of their original cases, I'm sure. But nevertheless, that was kind of weird and annoying, but I'll keep you updated. See if anything else ever happens. I'm just happy my Xbox is working. I was trying to find Buffy. That's the game I wanted to play, the first Buffy game, because that was only on Xbox. And that game rocked. But I couldn't find it right away. Like I said, after Christmas, I got to get through all that and get to it. But nevertheless, right now I'm looking forward to Turbo Duo, or the Analog Duo, excuse me, showing up. And I think I'll end it here at this point. I'll start wrapping things up, so I won't bore you men and women too much. But with that, of course, want to get an episode out. It's such a busy weekend, so forgive me if this sounds a little rushed or a little not as polished. But hey, look, I still love doing this. We love doing this. Me and Anthony love doing it. And we'll do it for as long as we can. We appreciate each and every one of you out there who listen, who watch, well, we'll be listening specifically this week, and who enjoy the podcast, interact with us, and you can interact with us. Remember, you can find us anywhere you listen to podcasts. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. Just search the Retro Gamers Podcast. You can find us on Instagram at Retro Gamers Podcast. You can find us on Facebook at Retro Gamers Podcast. You can find us on X at Retro Gamers Pod. YouTube, Retro Gamers Podcast. You can email us, email at theretrogamers.com. Please like, subscribe, ring the bell, get notifications so you know when new episodes drop. And please share to all your friends and family. Let the world know about us. Let them know why you enjoy listening to us. And again, myself and Anthony, we love you all. We appreciate all of your support. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And we will catch you everywhere next week on the Retro Gamers Podcast.